Oh no, I don't want local recordings.
Are you
Oh,
live yet? Oh yeah, you are. It says
I tried to live stream on Twitter by accident.
nice.
Yeah, I was supposed to go Facebook. Save changes. There we go. And now we're going to Facebook.
Yeah, the book.
We got 4 people in
They
already.
all met,
Nice.
huh?
There's some fun stuff. I was
Welcome,
looking.
welcome.
Oh, yeah, I should turn on my second or my primary camera. I just spent all day. I shot another interview for the upcoming podcast. Um, it's been a day. I've been kind of basically running my ass off all day. So yeah, it's kind of getting myself focused on one thing again here. Has been tough, and I'm setting up another interview at the same time. And by the way, Dylan, I'm actually going to reach out to you. Well, reach out to you. I'm going to utilize some of your logical skills with how to set this concept up that I'm doing for a podcast, because how to frame it is actually like 99% of it.
Always
And
the packaging. It's the packaging.
yeah. And the way I have it set up and the way I do it, there's about 15 different ways you can do it. And there's probably only one that's the best. I think there's definitely a way that is not the best. That's the worst. We'll see. Oh, okay. We got SR375 Fart Book. Yeah, I don't even go on there. I just have a Dark Corner Studios profile that I link, and that's about it.
You get a lot of engagement on Facebook?
No, I don't push engagement. Like I've considered. So if I try to reissue anything from the live stream, people get mad. People don't want to see conversation as a separate video, but I could be doing that for Facebook, and I can start taking some stuff and throwing it on Facebook just to garner some of that. But yeah, I don't. After leaving radio, I hate social media.
Yeah, you kind of get pounded with it, eh?
Oh, it's so bad. I like UK. How's it going, man? Yan Orvet again. Sorry.
We butcher names.
Preacher.
That's what we do.
Tech Preacher. Hello, all. I'm a huge fan. Cheers, man.
Hey,
welcome to the live stream. Yan, sad day. The Portacapture X6 is in the repair shop. Oh no, back on Monday. What happened to it?
Yeah, tell us.
I got
story?
mine. Scoop. I think I might be bringing that to NAB.
So, yeah,
I think that's going to be the one I bring for, like, in case we're doing any kind of like wide capture, sound, audio, all that stuff. Apart from LinkedIn and commenting here, 0 social media use in the household. I use Twitter sparingly. I'm not very active on there. I am followed by a few people that I follow back, and I want to be more active at Twitter. It just, I'm not the type of person. Same thing with pictures. When I see something or I do something, my initial first thought isn't to take a picture of it. My initial first thought is to,
experience it,
live in the moment, experience it, and then later go, oh yeah, that would have been a great photo. Like even when I'm on a vacation, it's not my thought to actually take a photo when I'm on vacation or a selfie. It's never been.
You're there to soak it in, right? You're not there to, take pictures so you can flaunt it to other people. I have the same problem. I have a hard time coming up with organic social media content. Like anything I put on social media is usually planned as that, but I have a hard time with the candidness because I'm kind of experiencing life. I'm living in the moment, not thinking about documenting it.
Exactly. SR375, this is where my head's at. You said been liking Mastodon. I instantly went to the band, which I'm actually a pretty big Mastodon fan myself. So that was kind of funny. Headphone out stopped working. Oh, that sucks. Hey, you got headphones. Artemio Silva, Facebook has 2 useful tools: birthday reminders in the marketplace. Yes, I use marketplace constantly. I find the on this day is my best, like, kind of jaunt down memory lanes, because I used to be really active on Facebook. So, but other than that, I don't bother.
I get this too. It was the same. I used to post everything on there.
Thanks for the super chat, buddy. I object to all forms of communication. Stop it. Sorry.
All, including talking.
Beresford just got home from drinks with the colleagues. That's cool.
Nice.
I haven't gone for drinks with work colleagues and since I had a job. So
Yeah.
I do miss that camaraderie though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, that there's with the right people, it was good.
Yeah, I like it says, "You mean you don't take a picture of your food and post about it?" The horror. Yeah, I
No.
don't like Twitter. I'm also not like I despise political confrontation because nobody, not a single person has ever had their mind changed on social media. And I don't have any interest in arguing with people that have a different view of the world than I do. That's not what social media is about, I don't think. It's for a lot of people it is, and that's fine. I just leave me out of it. So like that kind of limits what you can do. I can post my content on there, but regurgitating content on a platform that I want people from this platform to follow is just going to annoy the people that have already seen the content. So it's kind of this like, I want to be more personable on Twitter. Like I like what Bandrew does with his. He's a lot more engaged in that way. There's a few people that I'm like, wow, I really like what you do with your socials. I just can't emulate it. I don't know why. How
I
are you
can
guys doing?
for short bursts, but you got to do the like 3 posts a day thing, and I can't.
Yeah.
Like that's just too much social media
No,
for me.
thanks. How are you guys? I'm going to get the USB pod mic. Nice. That's a good choice, man. How long did it take you to make that? Let me know. Birthday reminders work great if you use a Mac OS Apple Contacts app and add it there. Yeah, I've just gotten onto that. It's fantastic. I
Yep, I
don't
did.
buy stuff for people's birthdays. Like I just don't. My wife buys everything, so as long as she's up to date on when birthdays are, I'm perfectly fine. I don't care. Steve just got my Octava MK19 Mark 319 out of storage after 20 years. Look forward to trying it out again. The Octava MK319.
Never heard of it. Now I have to. Now I'm curious.
319.
Color me
Yeah,
intrigued.
yeah. It's a mic, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh
Super
wow, yeah. That is an old one. I remember these things. They look like a front address, but they're a side address. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I hate those. Those screw me up so much. Or you get the ones that look like a side address, like the what is it, that one Sennheiser, the 421, and they're actually a front address.
That is a mic in 20 years in storage. I don't know how dusty that's going to be. Hopefully,
Yeah. What kind of storage? Climate controlled storage, air filtered storage. What kind of storage?
While traditional social media can be an amazing communication tool among close friends and family, I really have not grasped the larger desire to make fake connections with perpetual strangers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best ways to put it. I have my group of people that I want to communicate with on a daily basis. Friends and family, I don't really communicate over social media. If you want to hang out with me, come hang out with me. Let my wife do that. My wife is very active, so there we go. That's my connection to the outside world. And there are certain people on social media I do want to follow. I really enjoy certain people. I enjoy certain people that use things like Twitter, and that's fun. But I don't like making connections. Nah, I'm not making connections on Twitter and stuff like that. If I'll join a conversation, I find it interesting. But yeah, again, perpetual strangers hits the nail on the head.
Perfect.
It took me a year. Everybody's making me jealous. I was thinking of getting the original pod mic. Yeah, you know what? It's okay to take a while to actually decide on something like that, because buying a microphone this is something that's going to be with you for a while, and you're putting a decent amount of change on something, right? So yeah, definitely take your time on that. We do have a little bit of for crying out loud, we have something to chat about. Oh, go away. Why did you go to another page, stupid music radar? There we go. Nice. Some releases at NAMM. Am I going to get yelled at for calling it NAMM, by the way? That's a joke.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Nobody's going to get it.
Shure has announced new microphones. Basically instrument mics that are following the Nexodyne.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember the Nexodyne that we played around with live there, Dylan? Yeah, they're doing a whole set of dynamic instrument microphones, which look pretty cool. you're going to have to remortgage your house for this, dude. Like that Nexodyne was it 380 Canadian? So it was I think it was about 299 for US. And you know, it's the dual transducer, kind of cool.
And it's one of those things, like, I don't like, would they solve a significant problem that I'm having with miking instruments? No. Maybe in a live setting they could be unique, but live, most things are DI if that's even doable. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to try one of them, to see how it sounds, but I don't think I'm gonna just jump in and buy a kit.
Yeah, well, the Nexodyne 6 tom snare microphone designed to minimize bleed while delivering stronger focus and flexibility.
Yeah,
All the things you want to see, right?
That's the stuff I'm curious about. As far as just miking up guitar, but yeah, live drums are really the only thing that I'm stuck. And live horns. Traditionally with live horns, I just throw a bunch of 57s up. That does a good job, and then an SM7B for the sax. But I'd be curious to try 3 of those, something from that lineup.
It says the new Nexodynes will be available from February, starting at 215 pounds, meaning that's about 215 US.
Nice.
Maybe a little bit more US. I don't know. I like they look fun. They look cool. This is a replacement, though. I got to remind you of the 57.
Or that's they're trying to go for. But the thing is, the 57 was a Swiss Army knife. I like a lot of these, by just looking at them, they seem like purpose built. One of the beautiful things about the 57 was the fact that you could pretty much throw it on anything. You still can pretty much throw it on anything, and it'll give you a mostly acceptable sound of most sound sources. Even the most weird, like if somebody would come, like I remember somebody came with like a harmonium, like a like a weird harmonica keyboard thing,
nice
acoustic instrument, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Just throw 57 on it.
Yeah, 57. All right, sure. And you know what? It was intelligible. So sure. No pun intended.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether or not the 57 is going to become the 57 and the 58 are going to become the budget mic. It sounds weird.
They already kind of are. I got a 58 right here, actually.
Yeah.
They are budget mics, but they're also really good investments. They retain their value like no other mic does. Unless you really beat the living hell out of it, which I did to this, obviously.
What do we got here? We got Steve stored in a desert, looking brand new, including capsule. Nice. That's awesome.
Well, there's not a lot of humidity in the desert, so that's good.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Steve also got a 40-year-old SM57 from same storage. Damn.
Nice.
I want to find one of those 40-year-old microphones, and I want to put it side by side with a new one to see how much, because they've been tweaking them. They've been tweaking that capsule constantly. I would love to see how much it's kind of been tweaked over time. Now being used by a buddy for his DJ work. That's cool. Dave Westner, how much are those new mics selling for? 215 Great British pounds. Which is about 230 US, if I recall.
Do we have like an itemized list of each one of the mics and how much, or is that just kind of the starting?
It just says 215. Like you go right to the bottom here. So they've got more stuff coming. 215 pounds, including tax. That's including tax. That's not bad. But usually stuff is on par with the US dollar, and pounds are usually on par. So I'd guess it's around the 215 or 199 each. Would be actually that's compelling at $199 US each. That's $1,000. You've got a pretty decent kit for a mic or for a drum kit. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad, especially because in a live situation, especially in most venues, most of the sound of the drums comes from stage level anyway. So the amount of mics I'm throwing on the kit is pretty minimal. So packing 4 of those things away, if you pick the right 4, is probably a pretty good option.
Yep. Next up, we've got the Shure KSM11 wired cardioid condenser vocal microphone. Finally, a new addition at the top of the Shure live mic tree. I guess for condensers, they did come out with the Nexodynes, which are basically a live mic. But cardioid condenser vocal microphone. I've never used a handheld condenser mic. ever. Holy crap. Okay. Yeah, so that's 749 pounds for the KSM 11. I don't think I'm going to
Yeah.
be trying a handheld condenser anytime soon.
Hey, sure.
That
If you're
is
at Namm,
Oh,
feel
wow.
free to hit it
I
up.
wasn't showing that. You guys got to let me know when I'm an idiot here. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure,
I was
sure
thinking
KSM
that too. I'm
11.
like, yeah. It
Guy's
reminds
just
me.
talking to himself here,
Hey,
man.
isn't there a handheld, like a Neumann handheld that's condenser? There's another handheld condenser.
There's
I think it's Sennheiser,
Yeah,
maybe.
there's a couple that are out there that I've never bothered with. I mean, I absolutely love the idea of collecting handheld mics. I have virtually zero use for them unless I start playing live, which is plausible as I get older, right? Like maybe I want to join a band, or maybe I want to start a band and just make that as part of my routine, right? Get out a couple nights a week to jam. Yeah, I've got all the
Honestly,
mics.
I'm the same. I've got a ton of handhelds, which I laugh because they're vocal mics, and unless I'm dealing with a band with 13 vocalists, I don't think I need so many handhelds. But
Yeah,
half the time, honestly, they're just dynamic mics, so I'll just take the head off them and use them as
yeah.
instrument mics. They work perfectly well. We showed with our Hurt music video that you totally
You
can
can do
use it.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Between us, we could start a professional recording studio and not miss a beat.
I want to start a studio where we only have FM, like we have like 158s, and it's just called like 58 studios. And we cut like multi-million-dollar records and singles in this place, and just basically show, hey, you don't need
I'm up for it.
Yeah, I'm totally down. Sure, if you want to sponsor that, let us know.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to jump right on that. I'm pretty stoked for some new Shure stuff, actually. Yeah, I too am stoked for new Shure stuff. They're one of the few that I actually have to go out and purchase, which I'm okay with, but I get around to it when I get around to it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, instrument mics haven't done too well on this channel, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing. Yeah, we tried. Well, we'll come back to them when I'm not purchasing them, right? I think that's a big one. Liberty Dude, bringing it up here. Love to see Dylan on the Rode Ribbon mic.
I was wondering. I was going to ask you before the stream. We are going to bet on how long it would take for somebody to mention that I'm doing a little different today. Yeah. This is a 15-minute old idea. I got this right at 4:40, and I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's throw a different mic up. Let's see. Let's just for shits.
Next up, we have Bitwig. Are you familiar with much of what Bitwig does, Dylan?
No, not really. You said I recognize the name, but I've done no research. You mentioned the name in a message to me earlier, and I was like, oh, okay, I've heard that. I don't know what that is, but I've heard that name.
Bitwig is a DAW.
Nice.
Bitwig Studio.
I see that in the image.
Yeah, and this is their new interface to go along with the DAW and integrate with it. And I am very curious. And it's actually, when you look at the price of it, but you go through, the DAW looks pretty good. The DAW looks pretty user-friendly. It kind of reminds me of...
I am number one flag waver for more competition in the DAW market. I think there's too much monopoly. I think we need some competition to drive innovation in this side. Because I don't know, some of these DAWs, there's features coming out that are available that they're not jumping on because they don't care. And so I'm very interested in this.
Yeah, like this is actually a nice, impressive little setup they got going on here. Ultimate Studio Sidekick. CV connects the best of both worlds. 2 DC coupled inputs, 4 outputs, easily accessible via 3.5 millimeter mini jacks directly on the front panel. Like, they've got a lot of little things that, like, you can see that's cool. Audio quality, ready to go. Specs, all look pretty damn good, except for the USB-C, USB 2. USB 2 on the back of it. What the hell, man?
You don't need a lot of bandwidth.
No, but you might one day.
Yeah, you might, but I mean, in that interface with that amount of channels, I'd be curious that diffushing or whatever interface. What was that protocol of that unit?
USB 2, same thing.
Yeah, 192K, which, as we discovered, is a little bit, but
that's coming out Monday.
We do know that it's streaming that. More to come on that one.
The interesting one though, this also it has DAW transport controls. So you can control your DAW with the interface,
Okay.
which is
Does it
something
say, is it Huey or Mackie control? Does
doesn't
it
say.
say? I can't see
No,
anything
wait.
there.
Was compatible with Mac OS, dedicated ASIO drivers. I hope so. Supports MCU protocol for DAW transport controls.
Okay, so Mackie.
Is that Mackie?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
There you go.
fine. That most DAWs will support that. As long
And
as it's
it's
not some weird proprietary shit. That was what I was hoping to not see, which is good.
It's $549 US. I want to try this. This is actually on my list. It looks so pretty.
You like the orange? Do you dig the orange?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's going to be.
It looks like
I
it
think
should go next to my Milwaukee charger.
It'll probably end up on your desk. Don't worry. But it's one of those things that it's going to be way outside of my use case, like way outside of my use case. But I want to try it out still. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Those are the
192. What was the conversion spec on it?
Okay, all right. Let's go back. Let's see.
All right, I should have read. Should have paid attention.
The specs, I kind of skimmed over the specs because I don't want people to fall asleep here. It doesn't really say converter. 192.
Nice. And it doesn't say 32-bit, 24-bit.
Probably 24.
That's just fine. That's professional standard.
Yeah, it's not going to be 16-bit with 192. So
no, but I was thinking, I was wondering if it offered 32-bit float as an option, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty. And I want to try it. So yeah, if you guys have anything from NAMM that you guys want to talk about, hit us up. I'm really curious. I'm trying to shuffle through. There's so many instruments being released, guitars, and I kind of want to jump on that stuff, but I mean, definitely nobody wants to hear us talk about the new Martin guitar.
I'm always curious about NAMM. I've known obviously about it for like over a decade now, more than a couple decades. But it's like I feel like it would be just so overwhelming as a gearhead to go like ADD central. It's like, oh my god, they're doing this, but I gotta go over there. They're doing this. Like at least NAB, NAB, whatever. There's I don't know, there's a more kind of focused range that I would want to kind of focus on, whereas NAMM, that's all it's basically all of that. So that'd be hard.
Well, you see a lot of microphones and interfaces get released there, but yeah, it's very, very focused on music more so than it is on broadcast. Hence why we go to NAB. Yeah, sure makes a couple too, the beta and the regular 87 good mics. Yeah. Oh, they're handheld. Yeah, do they have a handheld condenser beta? Sure.
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. I know the 58A is a beta, obviously, and it's regular dynamic, so I don't know.
Anyways, is this like what ELK Live or ELK Live was? I have no idea. I don't know what ELK.
I mean, they have the beta 181, which is technically like a small diaphragm condenser, but I think there might be you could use it handheld. I wouldn't, because there's probably no shock absorption in it because it's not meant to be held in your hand, but it's the form factor of a handheld.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, why go with the form factor of a handheld if it's not supposed to be handheld?
I mean, the 57, right? I mean, it's the same. I think because it's really, it was maybe really inexpensive for them to make these clips and to just reuse the barrel, right? Because this barrel on the 58 is virtually identical to the one on the 57. So,
well, it's the people that are like, ooh, whenever I do a handheld test on a handheld mic, they're like, oh, it's not supposed to be handheld. Well, if it has the actual physical dimensions of a handheld mic, there's going to be people that hold it in their hand. There really is. You can't ignore that. So
people have done it with the 57. They found out the hard way that it doesn't have the pneumatic shock absorption inside it like the 58 does. But you can do it, and I've seen people just not move and just kind of, and it works. It sounds like a 58.
One of the videos I wanted to do was filling one of the Zoom recorders with some gunk to see how much it takes the handheld noise away, and whether or not we're basically being ripped off by Zoom by them just not putting a few pennies worth of stuff inside their units. I know it makes it easier to fix in the long run, but then at the same time, the handling noise is egregious.
Yeah, any cavities inside something that you're gonna be holding, like, yeah, you're gonna that cavity, just like an acoustic guitar, will just amplify any kind
Yep.
of hit, and that's a pain in the ass.
SR379 needs to have swappable color plates. I agree. I like the orange, but yes, purple.
100%. I thought of that, but I thought that might be too ridiculous to say out loud. But yeah, swappable color plates. Because let's be honest, now it's
100%.
all about aesthetics, right? Especially if you're maybe, I don't know, you're trying to lean into some. I mean, that's some high end streamer stuff. But like, I don't know. There's people that pick, the color of their RAM to match their graphics card, man. Like it's a very aesthetic.
I'm really surprised RGB hasn't made it to the prosumer end of things. Like RGB is very much held off on the consumer, like really, really low end consumer, but it really hasn't entered into the prosumer. And that kind of surprises me, considering there's a lot of really expensive gear. Like you get the DLZ Creator XS. When you turn that on, it's nice, bright. Same thing with the Rodecaster Duo. I mean, RGB basically. I mean, it's really pretty, but you haven't really seen it in a lot of other respects, like an interface with RGB.
The Rodecaster video, it's obvious that there's RGB lighting underneath all of those keys because they use it almost every single color. And I don't know. It's color is just a really natural and great way to organize stuff. When in sessions, like I've opened Pro Tools sessions from people and everything is just the default blue, and I'm just like, why? You can double click and you can change it. Come on, there's 40 tracks here. They're named Audio 1, Audio 2, Audio 3. Like, see, don't be lazy.
I do it all the time, except on Audition because it's automatic in Audition. But yeah, I hear you. Liberty Dude, hey Dylan, have you liked this stream? I have. Thanks, Liberty Dude. Appreciate it.
Reminder, I'm getting called out.
Reminder, if you want, you guys should like the stream.
Can people see? I just fully got called out there, which was very valid.
Dimebag wants to know any DSP power in that one. No, I don't think so. I can double check here. Let's bring y'all for the ride. Usually that's one of the first selling features of these things. MIDI enabled. So the MIDI enabled is probably going to tell me probably not, and considering like I don't think so.
That was weird. I just played the YouTube stream and I heard like StreamYard was delayed by like 2 seconds. Like I heard the whatever the MIDI enabled you just said, and then I muted it, and then you actually said it through StreamYard. That was weird.
Oh, that is weird.
So YouTube is happening before I'm actually getting your feed from StreamYard.
That's wild. Okay, that's just a little weird. That's a little too much Inception for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when there's DSP power in an interface, that's usually one of the top like selling features. And at that price point, we do not see a lot of professional series DSP at the $500 mark. It's going to be coming, but it's not there yet. So. No. Dave, the big news in the drum world to a few people anyways is that Drum Workshop has taken over and is going to be manufacturing Slingerland drums. Dylan, does any of that mean anything to you?
I know Drum Workshop. I didn't hear that news, but that's kind of cool. Making drums. Wow.
They reached out to me to work with us, and I turned them down because I'm like, I was like, I don't have any. Like, I don't have the audience for it right now. We check back with me when we can move into more music stuff. But yeah, the guy, I forget his name, he reached out to me. He's like, well, what can we do? And I'm like, probably nothing. But I appreciate it. But
I've learned some stuff from that channel.
Nice.
I feel like it's actually been a good resource in the past. Like, I don't know, when I was learning some basic drumming to do a thing, I was like, what am I fucking doing? And some great resources.
Sure Beta 87. That's the handheld condenser by Dave. Dave Westner tells us.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, I got to see how much a Shure Beta 87 is.
Yeah. I'm so nervous because traditionally large diaphragm, well, any condensers are really sensitive to movement, and so obviously when you're designing a handheld, you would find a way with the engineering of it to circumvent that. But I don't know. I wish somebody would just give me one so I could try it, and then I wouldn't have to buy it to find that out.
They're
But,
$350. Maybe I'll pick one up. $350.
Yeah, that's not terrible for a condenser mic.
Yeah. Didn't Neumann move a capsule to handheld? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't follow Neumann for one single reason is I can't afford their mics. I can, but like it doesn't make any sense for me to buy one of their mics. Yeah, the 87 Dimebag handheld condensers haven't been on my radar for a few reasons, but yeah,
no.
It's also like staying up on all of the microphones all of the time is exhausting.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, everybody's like, hey, Beta 87. They now have, yes, they have one too, KSM 105. Oh yeah, the KSM 105. Again, staying up on every microphone is exhausting. It's tough. Went to NAMM for a few years, but only for one day. It was always too big. Just walk the gear amps, mics, processor halls. But there are many more of those vendors now, especially from Asia. I was invited to go to NAMM this year by NAMM themselves. They wanted me to come and cover, and I'm like, well, unless you're going to pay my way, no. Because there's not enough there for my audience, right? Like, I'm sure there's I could have covered Shure, I could have covered, that the interface there, but there's not really enough for me to pay my own way. NAB different, very different. So yeah, I would love to go walk the halls. I mean, you're in California, that'd be awesome. But yeah, one of these days we are going to make our way there. What's the one in Europe? Comes up in September, October, I think. That's the one I want to get to. That's the big one that I want to do.
But that's one of those ones where if somebody said it,
it starts with an I. That's all I remember. Anyways, that's the big one. That's the one that I've heard from a lot of people that if you want to go to something like NAMM, but include the rest of the world, you want to go to that one. Somebody's going to tell me in the comments which one it is. Nice and smooth, but my Beta 58 is my on stage to go. Wow, we are way behind. Let's crush some of these. RGB in a Rodecaster Pro and Duo. Yep, lots of RGB in those. I want to see an Audio Fuse Studio with RGB or something, what's the MT48 by Neumann? Yeah, get that thing with RGB. Make it look pretty.
I mean, yeah, for that price, right?
Dimebag Rodecaster Duo, only interface I would put in place of my PreSonus IO24. I really need one of those. Yeah, they're great. The Duo is awesome.
Yep.
I stayed away from PreSonus. I went through the IO24 and all that stuff, and yeah, it was great. I just don't put any PreSonus on my desk anymore. One blew up, and that's enough for me. Arturia released a new interface. Okay.
Jesus, my head is buried in the sand. Apparently.
Again, this is hard to. It's happening all at once. Okay. Glass Mini Freak 3.0. I don't think that's an interface.
That sounds like a
keyboard. Yeah. Arturia NAMM.
Oh, okay.
Keylab 88.
What's this? This is Audio Fuse Compact. Is that? I mean, that's the first thing on their site. So I'm assuming. Oh no, wait.
Can you link it to me in Facebook if you find it?
Does anybody know what it's called? Is it the Audio Fuse Compact? There's a few things here that they're pushing. I'm trying to figure out what the most. I haven't been watching their press releases, so I don't know.
Audio Fuse Compact. See, when I Google that, it doesn't even show up. Gotta love that. Audio Fuse Rev 2.
Oh no, sorry. That's the secondary. That's the subheading. It's just Audio Fuse. Sometimes their formatting is confusing.
All right, let's check to see. Nobody's filled us in yet. Yeah, the Audio Fuse something 2. Rev 2.
Something new. Rev 2, maybe. Oh yeah, the Rev 2. Okay, yeah, I've got it right here. Nice.
Link it to me on Facebook, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm just on their site, so here I'm sending it through. There you go. Scroll down a top.
Yeah, I got it.
Actually, so that's a picture of it at the top of that page.
Oh yeah, those are the. I love those. They had the originals. They were like little space heaters. Here, I'll actually share.
Hopefully, they fixed the space heater part in the revision.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta pull this off. Okay, and then I've got to go to here. Oh,
I like the compactness.
I need a monitor.
You know, I like that they're appreciating that desk space for a lot of people is at a premium.
Right. Okay, so here we go. Sharing this. We on there? Yeah, we are. Okay. So, this is what it looks like now. Man, I really, really have to get a new monitor. So the Rev 2 compact versatile audio interface, $700 US, available soon. This is the original compact 2 input. This I got their AudioFuse Studio, which is the 4 input. This was the original space heater. Love the thing. I always wanted to get one of these. I know Banjo did a review on it. I want to know if they upgraded the preamps, because one of the things about the AudioFuse lineup is their preamps were pristine.
Yeah, they had good pre's.
Output level. Okay, so it's basically all the same stuff. It's like they updated nothing on this. Like nothing.
I was gonna say, I mean, you know, did they drop the noise floor? But the noise floor was already pretty freaking low.
It was neg 130 or 129.7.
I think it was 129.
Like
it was a lot. It was like 1 or 2 dB away from like Johnson noise. You know, like regular thermal radiation.
Latency for the recording musician. Here's the thing that my AudioFuse Studio ended up like just it shit the bed on latency all of a sudden one day. Low latency as low as 3 milliseconds depending on your setup. With a frequently measured value of 4.5 milliseconds on a wide range of computers. Well, remember the when we tested out the oh crap, it had a super low.
Oh, the SSL2.
SSL2, that one was ridiculously low, and an SSL2 beating out $1,000 interface like the AudioFuse Studio is kind of embarrassing.
Well, it was super low because I think that the input monitoring chain on that, well, even the round trip, like those drivers were obviously on the SSL were well coded. Like there's no bloat in those drivers. They're very quick because even the round trip through the DAW was really low. Obviously, the input side is easy because it's a circuit inside the interface itself. Whereas to go through the computer and back at the speed it was pretty impressive.
Do some math. Gain range is neg 15 to 36 dB. What's the math on that? Is that 61 or 51? That's 61.
Neg 15 and neg 30 to 36 dB, 40,
50-ish, 51.
Yeah, 51 dB of gain.
Yeah,
that's dynamic range 117 dB. Oh, those are line inputs. Okay, microphone preamps.
I was going to say that, weird for line.
Yeah, I had 72 dB. So gain range on the mic preamps are 3 to 76, so 73 dB of gain.
Okay, so question: what happens if I plug the ISO mic into that then? Because it doesn't.
Oh, you can't. You cannot. I did this. I plugged in the ISO mic. This is how I tested the ISO mic with the ISOVox. Was I plugged it into that, and at 0. I was peaking. I had to turn the pad on.
Well, yeah, because obviously from that spec, it doesn't go to 0. Its lowest is 3 dB of amplification.
Yeah.
So
this is neg 131.5 dBu, typical A weighted.
Wow.
That's fucking quiet.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. Headphones output impedance 33 ohms. Really? That's for a powered. Oh, maybe this thing isn't powered. It might just be hub powered.
Oh,
maximum output 10 dBu, dynamic range 102 dB. So basically, yeah, a little bit better. Probably a little. I think that's a little bit more gain on the preamps. It didn't say whether or not it was 24-bit 48 kilohertz or what it was.
192
Dynamic
or
range.
whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Sample rates. That would be under converters. Is there a converters subheading somewhere? No.
Nope.
Like
No.
it. Weird.
Yeah. Main features, ADAT.
Yeah,
Word
it's a
clock
bit
in
of
24-bit, 192.
192. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna contact our
Hey,
trader to see if I can.
get one, and then do an A/B between recording. If you can get like a Y cable for a mic, and then record using the interface that you're going to be talking about on Monday, and 192, and then record in this thing in 192, and compare the spectrograms.
That's a good idea.
Of like
That's
a
a very good
true 192K interface versus something that's maybe not.
That thing looks sexy. I'm gonna contact Arturia, see if they're gonna give it to me. Hey Bob, sorry buddy, I'm kind of doing a live stream. You can't come.
Bob
up.
makes an appearance.
Bob is okay. Bob, I love you too, but you cannot come up.
Bobbert.
Oh, gross, dude. Oh yeah, we're getting way behind. Rent one from LNM. If I can't, like, I need a new workhorse for recording like music and stuff like that. I would probably just buy it. That's one of those things. Like, I'm thinking about getting the Neumann MT48, but I was kind of hoping Sennheiser would work with me on that. I can do a review plus, whatever. But I don't know if I'm willing to drop, like, I think it's 2,500 Canadian on it. That's the problem.
Honestly, I would cut, because the 48 is just kind of a repackaging of the merging Anubis. So I would honestly try to get the Anubis out of them, because that's kind of the better one anyway.
Dimebag says, what? You need to know everything Bandrew knows. That is impossible. Dude is an encyclopedia of microphones, and I can only imagine the pile of microphones that he sits on every night. Like, he probably watches TV on the pile of boxes that he throws behind him. I've also pulled an Aphex 107 Tubescence preamp out of storage. Looking forward to retrying it out. Dylan, do you see value in tube preamps? Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah. I'm not sitting here, going to say that they're perfect for everything, but they're a tool, right? They're like anything else. Are they the same as solid state designs? No. Even within the solid state world, there's many different, beside me, I'm not going through it right now, but I've got a 1073, which is a very transformery sound. That's kind of what Neve is known for. And then I've got some sort of tube options. I will say tube preamps, in my opinion, and I'm going to be the asshole that says get good tubes. Because when I'm using tube preamps, I want to clip them. That's what I want to do with them. I want to clip them artfully, right? Because I don't know, if you're gonna record something through a tube pre and you're gonna have it at a nice, safe, quiet level, why bother? To me, when you get that little tube breakup action, like on a snare drum, ooh, love it. 57, get that snap on the top snare, just clipping, just on the transient, just nice little bit of dirt in there. I like that. It sounds like shit through a solid state pre. I've tried even like the SSL, like most of their boards have like a VHD pre, which is solid state, but they're trying to emulate like some variable harmonic non-linearities, we'll say, in the signal, and I still can't get it to clip good for a snare drum sound. So
I love watching Dylan when something like this comes up. You can tell when he's super engaged, and he's like, Dylan is passionate about tubes. I'm just going to tell you that.
But again, I'm not like a tube guy. I've got a handful of tube pieces. Most of the stuff in this room is solid state. I actually, in terms of mission critical, I prefer solid state because tubes fail. And they fluctuate. Sometimes if tubes get older, the level coming out of them fluctuates a little bit, and I got to replace them. And it can be a bit of a hassle. It's kind of like vinyl over Spotify. Love the sound of vinyl, not as practical as Spotify.
Liberty Dude says, a bit off topic, but with Dylan on the ribbon mic in a broadcast setup, have either of you ever used an old ribbon broadcast mic like the RCA BK5? I have had a chance, but I did not, because they did not want me to talk into it because they were worried about the ribbon. And it's actually happened to me 2 or 3 times where I'm like, oh my God, can I try it? No. They only use it for like,
hey man, you gotta ask.
Yeah, I want to buy one. And that's in kind of my long-term goals, is I do want to get some, even for background stuff, even if it doesn't work, but like minimum $1,200 for a non-working one. And then usually if you get one that's working, some idiot has wired it up and just done a hatchet job on it. So yeah.
Well, and the other thing too about ribbons, for those ribbons run into the exact, at least a true ribbon runs into the exact same problem as the SM7B, the Shure SM7B, which is that they need a shitload of gain. I will say, active ribbon mics like this NTR here, they don't need that, but that is reliant on the company that built it making a really good internal preamp. I will say that this NTR has a phenomenal internal preamp. That means I can drive it with a broadcast processor like I've got it plugged into, and it I get very little noise. So yeah, ribbons have their own struggles.
So I just saw this. Somebody said Austrian Audio, they just released the OCS10, their flagship microphone.
Nice.
It's just a video here. I don't have anything else on it. So if you guys want to check it out, just search NAMM 2025 Austrian Audio OCS10. That looks pretty damn impressive. I'm going to be doing that in a bit. Okay, so let's skip ahead here. Let's see if we can find some. That was from Liberty Dude that tipped me off to that. I really love the Rode. My NT2A is still my best mic by far. Oh, I am getting. Somebody mentioned I should try the NT2000. I reached out to them and they are sending me one, so I can try that out. I've been fascinated with the 2000 for a while because of the variable puller pattern, and the ability to basically just like slowly switch, tune in to each puller pattern is kind of cool. I really want to try that. Also the new Mackie Pro FX 10, the new battery powered one. I am getting a version of that at some point in the next week or so. AudioFuse Rig 16. Yeah, I saw the rig, the original rig. I want to try I got to reach out to AudioFuse, see what they're willing to do for me. $3,000. I dig that. Oh yeah. Good God. Does AudioFuse have DSP? No, they do not. They go for the super clean. They didn't mess around with DSP. Because it's meant for like studio recording, not necessarily any live streaming that you'd require DSP for. Minifuse 1 is an absolute tank. Yeah, I still got that behind me. It's actually on the shelf up there. Is it still? Yeah, it's on the very top shelf there. It's kind of hard to see because it's blurred out. Fantastic. 73 dB is great gain. 2 useless phono preamps. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I hooked up my my old turntable to it for the for the phono preamps. It was quite good. It was a little loud. Bandrew sleeps on a bed of rose-colored microphones. SR375. Yes, it is an NTR. You've been here the whole stream, man.
It is, yeah.
You know what? It kind of blends in with the. I don't blame him.
I was gonna say if I didn't love how it looked so much, I would have spray painted it for the maybe bright pink or something. So
yeah, there's like a screen. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, the screen right behind it is kind of standing in the way. Yes, it is an NTR.
Try talking to it.
Really, those BK5s are designed to record gunshots. Yeah, but if you own one and they work and it's pristine, you don't want some dumbass like me rocking up and trying to talk into it. Yeah, and I don't blame anybody. Like if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, can I play your guitar?" and I didn't really fully trust them, I'd say no. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with people saying no. That's they're not getting a Christmas present, but you know. Jan says, got to check out Canon N3 Ultra vacuum tube music player. Oh, that sounds nice. Dylan got me into a Facebook group making fun of audiophiles. It's one of my favorite groups. And my father-in-law is an audiophile. And my father-in-law is also cheap though. So he clashes with those two personality types. His cheap self doesn't want to spend the money, but his audiophile self wants to buy Macintosh amplifiers, and he's got like 4. And we're talking like the old school Macintosh amplifiers from like way back, and they're gorgeous. They sound great, but yeah, he gets them like completely destroyed and he rebuilds them. That's the only way he can actually afford them. But yeah, Whenever I see a vacuum tube music player, that I can only think of that group, Dylan.
Well, and it's like I will say about audio, I'm not necessarily an audiophile. I have some audiophile pieces. I have an audiophile turntable. I have obviously an audiophile DAC that Aiden and I tried out, and some of it is bullshit. Not all of it is bullshit though. Like I will say that DAC I got on my right, and then I looked into some of the weirder formats that it can play, and I played those formats, and like I had like a classical music, a friend that's really into classical music, and we listened to like a DSD recording, which I'd never been exposed to before, like SACD player type stuff, and I was blown away at the detail in these recordings. Like I didn't think it was possible to get that level of detail in audio before. So don't entirely make fun of audiophiles, but yes, there is, is it, are they 24 karat gold? Fuck off. Like, like, I don't have time for that crap.
It's like what SR375, let's get some 10K power cables. Yeah,
exactly.
Did your tape for your new set direction or set decoration arrive? It's not the tape. I've got actually a bunch of tape behind me. You can see the pile of it right there. There's a bunch of reels. I needed the capstan belt, and that did arrive. So Dylan and I'm waiting for Dylan to come over and play, so we can kind of put it together. I'm thinking like we're probably going to utilize the Mackie 10, the Mackie whatever, that new board that's coming, so we can kind of mess around with that. Run it through. I'm gonna need some 1/4-inch cables, man. I don't have enough balance cables.
I've got a bunch. I was actually just thinking today. I have a bunch that I have made that I'm not using, so you can at least borrow those. There's probably at least like 12 of them.
Yeah, bring them over when you come. But yeah, that's the kind of what I want to plan with it. I don't really know how to showcase the reel to reel in a way that this channel will appreciate. I know there's a lot of people here that would appreciate the video. But out of the 33,000 people that follow this channel, I want to make sure more than, what do we have, 22 people actually appreciate it and actually watch the video and like enjoy it. So I'm going to give me a bit of time to figure out what we're going to do with the 4-track. I do want to do a cover with it. That cover I think has got to be Seven Nation Army, just based on who, all analog, it makes sense. So can you record a fully analog song in 2025? That's the, I think it would be a lot of fun. And I think the setup for that video would be kind of cool as well.
That would
love that. SR375, love that making fun of audiophiles. Yeah. SACD is cool, but bullshit cables are, See, and I still get hate from people because I basically said like Mogami cables are trash. You're wasting your money. There's a point for some of that stuff, but usually it's for corporate or like large scale concert venues that need it to work every time, and cables can't break and cables need to be thrown around. But in your basement studio, you do not need a $400 XLR cable.
Honestly, for when I first started making audio cables like TRS, XLR, RCA cables, I was using UTP cable, like Ethernet cable. And I would take two of the contacts, because there's eight pins on an Ethernet cable, and I would sort of tie two of them together. They work great, and the cable is cheap as shit. The most of the value in expensive cables comes in the ruggedness, the durability of the cable.
Yep.
Like if you're going to install a cable and you're going to plug it in and just leave it, and it's going to sit behind furniture for its life, you can get away with cutting certain calculated corners.
Absolutely.
In making a cable. But yeah, if you're going to be throwing cables around, like if you're a touring band and you need cables that are going to be tossed around like every day, basically, then it does pay to get good, like welded connector cable kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And especially with the shielding that they use and all that stuff, it makes sense. But yes, but if you're just sitting in your basement recording, go get yourself a $30 XLR cable, and when it breaks, go get yourself another $30 XLR cable or order it off of Amazon. You're going to be fine.
Say this. If you're recording, especially if you're looking at instrument cables in particular, unbalanced cables, pay attention to the type of shield, if it's serve shield, if it's like a grid shield or a foil shield, because there's pros and cons to those. Do some research, figure out what's good for your scenario. But there are things to factor in, but you totally can get away with buying cheaper cables and they'll still sound fine.
Yeah, and it doesn't affect the sound. PS. Dimebag wants to know, can I sing it? No, this is going to be Dylan's. If we do Seven Nation Army, that's going to be going to Dylan as the lead singer. Because I think that's something you could rock. You could totally crush. I can sing it. And I mean, we're not doing it anytime soon by any means. There's a lot of shit going on right now. But like I can work my way up, and we'll see how it goes. We'll do tryouts. We'll see who wins the gig. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have my wife will be the judge. So
like when I sent you the mix for her when we were trying to figure out whose mix we were gonna.
Okay, you win. Fuck you.
And I wasn't even trying to. That was the funny thing about that.
Yeah, and says close to midnight here. Time for some Z's. Have a great weekend. Cheers, brother. Thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah.
Gear Junkie wanted to pop in and wish you both a great weekends. Cheers, man. I appreciate that.
Too. Yeah.
I splurge on logo cables at Long and McQuaid, and they get replaced over the counter if they fail. They use their tester and hand you a new one if it does not pass. Yeah, I mean that's just it. If you're in a situation where it has to work 10 out of 10 times, and like you're basically a touring band, or you're a roadie that's servicing a touring band, yeah, you're going to be putting more money into it. I just see all these people that are like, no, man, I bought a Scarlett 2i2 and I got a $250 XLR cable because it's the best for the sound.
Yeah, I got a $250 XLR cable for a $50 Maono. Like I don't know. There is when you're looking at like an upgrade path, when you buy audio gear and you're looking to swap out, and initially you want to spend the money to swap out the things that are going to have the most impact. And so, sometimes people will choose to swap out the cheapest thing to swap out for good stuff, which usually ends up being cables. Like obviously you can get really high-end cables and people feel all impressive because they're getting good cables, but it's like, well, you're not going to see that much of a difference in your result. So you just blew a bunch of money on something you didn't really need.
Liberty Dude has a good point, and I actually wanted to do this. Have a video talking about the tape plugins versus analog tape use, maybe with a preferred plugin in mind. I know Dylan has a very specific plugin that he uses.
I have a few.
Yeah, so I think that's probably going to be part of that tape concept videos, 1 or 2. I don't know how many we're going to do. I do know Dylan's got his own 4-track. And I think maybe we might be having a 4-track off or something like that.
Little shootout, 4-track shootout.
A little shootout. There's a lot of stuff that I would love to, but especially with analog stuff like that, it's going to be some intensive shit. So I want to make sure it's going to be properly done.
Well, and the problem with tape too is tape machines are kind of built like a car. There's a lot of parts. There's a lot of calibration. If you're going to be using a tape machine for something professional, you need to check like the input bias, you need to check the azimuth of the head assembly, you need to there's lots of little fine tuning that you have to do. And I know yours might not be that bad. Mine needs some calibration. Big time. I know it records, I know everything works on it, but the trim pots on the input board need to be adjusted and calibrated to something because they're all over the place.
Dimebag says I have about 170 covers on the channel now. Check out some of my warbling. I do know we've got a few people that are probably going to be involved in this. A few YouTubers. I'm not going to name any names. If you saw a couple live streams, you might understand. But once it gets going, I think it's going to be a cool experience to get multiple people in on the video. So you'll see. I got big plans. Big fan of Blue Jeans cable. Never heard of it.
No,
I don't really know if I have a favorite cable. Like I really like Rhodes XLR cables. They're one of the color coding for XLR cables is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, color coding. I end up color coding them anyway. Like all my XLRs, I've got little cut pieces of different combinations of electrical tape just to denote what the cable is. But having the actual cable colored, especially for tracing stuff, oh my god. And it's Canair cable. It's good. It's Neutrik connections. They're well built cable. In fact, this is NTR is plugged into a purple one right now.
Yeah. Like I've got the pink and I got the blue Rode cables. This is brilliant. Like this is, I know what cable I'm reaching for. I used to have to like, I would have different types of cable ends. One would be a Neutrik. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's the one I need. Now I just look at the color. It's brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody hasn't done that before. They probably have, but nobody at the scale of Rode. So
like, I think the thing is it's expensive. Like when I started getting into making cables, I spent like $300 on a reel of decent like Ken Air mic cable. I think it was like 300 feet or 250 feet. And I mean, if you want a bunch of different color cables, you got to get a bunch of those. Which, hey, if I had a room to store all the giant reels of cable, totally I would. I would get one in every color. Because, yeah, I mean, especially when you're rigging up a room and you're trying to troubleshoot maybe a cable that's broken and you've got a trough with like 20 of them, it would really be nice for me to visually be able to follow one from one end to the other, you know?
I like UK. I can sing, but I've been warned it's close to being a human rights violation. Jesus. Logo cables are not rip-off prices. They're still reasonable. Main speaker cable is close to 20 years old. Yeah, you know what? Speaker cable is, I remember back in the 90s, dating myself a bit, I still remember going into Future Shop in Canada here, and they would have like the gold-plated end speaker cable that was like, and I'm like, guys, it's copper. Like, it's just copper. What are you doing? No. This gives you a better connection. And it's like, oh man. And they're like $200-300 cables for speaker wire.
And you know, it's gold plated. Now I will say so you need something that's not going to oxidize. You know, as your connection point, you need to seal the copper because copper oxidizes really quickly. Oxidation, bad for conductivity, especially in like speaker cable scenarios. But as far as the type of cable, I ran like this tiny solid core. It was probably like a 22 gauge wire because I didn't have anything else long enough when I was just setting up a hi-fi setup in my living room like a week ago. And one speaker cable is just your regular 14 gauge speaker cable, like proper speaker cable. The other one is definitely not supposed to be like, it's a signal cable. And I sit between them. They're good speakers. I sit between them and I listen and I'm like, I can't hear a massively distinguishable difference between these two speakers.
Nope.
And they're using wildly different cable.
All right, we got to go in a second here, guys. Joe Audio, welcome to the stream, buddy. Honestly, I don't understand the whole expensive XLR thing. I've been using the same $10 cable for 7 years. Works perfectly still. Yeah. I mean, I have cables in here that I've had over 10 years. And every once in a while, you know, I'll plug one in and I'm like, oh, that's kind of buzzy. Or, hey, that's not working anymore, and done, right?
Like, if you're good at soldering, get into making your own cables, because you know, I do that all the time now. If I need a cable for something that's a certain length, I whip out the bulk cable and I make one. Like this XLR cable, this is good quality wire. These are good quality connectors, and all in, this cable to make probably cost me $4 or $5. And so, and you can custom build, like if you need something that's like TRS to XLR, or it's a pain in the ass to have to solder it every time. But now I got all these cables, which is great.
Yeah. And like I just use the ones Rode sent me. I gave you a couple of them.
Whenever I need an XLR quick, and I'm like, I need something that I know is going to work and not have any issues and is going to be pretty rock solid. I've unscrewed the connector just to see the solder points. They're all really good solder jobs, really clean.
You know, they're
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I unscrewed the beer.
Oh, I thought you said something different.
Maybe I didn't. I meant
every time I get a package from Rode, I secretly, because they went a while there where they were just sending, like, they'd send everything, the kitchen sink. And like they would send the cables, they'd send some of this, they'd send some of that. So every time now I'm like looking in, I'm like, did they send it? I hope they sent it. Yeah, well, I would have to take it apart a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's fine. Anyways,
yeah, they're good.
Really,
I mean, whether these are human inspected or not, either way, they seem pretty consistent. I have 5 cables and I looked at all of them and they were all really good.
Yeah. So. I mean, yeah, it's hard to screw it up, right? Like you
would be surprised.
Yeah, I know.
That is one thing I've like, quality control on cheaper cables. Sometimes I've bought cheaper cables and it's just DOA. And I'm like, okay, I can bring that back, I guess.
This is
Yeah,
interesting.
funny.
Rick on Mike, if I'm not mistaken, Rode cables are rebranded Kinnair Star quad cables.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the type, the actual cable itself, and then I believe they are Neutrik connectors as well.
Cool. I mean, really, I mean, rebranded. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine it's hard to.
Most of the companies that make cable, like getting into manufacturing your own wire is a pain in the ass if it's not something that you already do.
It wouldn't surprise me with Rode where they're like, we spent $1 million on our cable machine here in the corner.
It wouldn't surprise me either, but like, you know, with how the market is saturated, and I do feel if that was the case, they would also be pushing it a lot harder than they are. Mind you, they built the NTR, and I didn't feel that was pushed super hard, despite it totally deserving of a big push because it's a great mic.
Dude told me to my face, he's like, we did it because we could.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
If I was running a company, I would do that, and I would do that too quickly, and it would go belly up immediately.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the range of microphones like the NT2000, it's easy to forget how good their range of microphones are. Like everybody sees the NT1, and I've never used the NT1A ever. But everyone's like, oh yeah, just go for the NT1. It's $150 US. It's hard to like.
The one Rode that I've wanted to spend more time with is the K2. I want at some point I want to drop some coin on the K2. I want to measure it up against some other like sort of lesser tube condenser mics and just see how it measures up, and then maybe even like match it up against like a U67, right? Like something that's like ideal.
Yeah. I still feel like once in a while I'll reach out when I have people from the audience that like, hey, could you review this? That's why last week I asked the question during the live stream, do you want me to review this board? Because I want to know when I reach out to ask, I'm not asking to put another board on my shelf. Feels like it's kind of a shame to see audio gear that just kind of gets stuck there because I asked for it, gave it a review, and walked away. And it's the same thing. Like, you know, I'd love to do the K2, but then it's also like, I don't know how it's going to do. And I would feel bad reaching out to Rode. The last time I reached out to them for the NTG3, before the 2000, the NTG3, because I wanted to do the NTG3 versus the lapel versus the standard microphone. And I had that thing's done really well for itself. And I was really proud of that video and that, but if I don't have that in mind, I can't. It feels bad just asking for audio gear without an actual plan of what I'm going to do. But yeah, the K2 has been on my list for quite a while. All right, we're gonna get ready to go here. Just over under technique must be used to store mic and other multi-conductor cable. Teach
100%.
everyone the over under method.
The thing I teach people is, and it's trial by fire. It's so number one is if you are doing the hose wrap, I will slap that cable out of your hand so fast. I've seen it because I remember when I worked at a music store that will remain nameless years ago. That's how they like we had to
they do over the arm like this way.
They do over the arm.
Oh, okay.
And on patch, no less. Yeah, well, that's what when I say the hose wrap for those that are never done it.
Don't do that with a cable.
Don't do this. On a cable this tall is fine, honestly. But the thing is, so what Dimebag is talking about for those that haven't seen it is, so you have your straight wire, you twist it one way, you got one loop, and then you twist it the opposite way, and you sort of go down the cable like this. And so what that means is I can stand at a patch bay, take the cable somebody sent me, take the one end, throw it out, and it will, just as it did, come out completely untangled. You can't do that unless you do over under. And if I throw it and there's a loop, you're wrapping it again.
All right, let's crush these out. Dave says, it's great that you're getting sent cool audio stuff. Congrats on the growth of your channel too. Yeah. I remember when I talked about this on a live stream and Bandrew was like, wait, they're sending you free stuff. It took me till I was 100K before I start getting free stuff. If you ask, most companies will work with you as long as you're not doing it for the gear. Like I've stated this before, more gear doesn't really do me any good. I've got an AKG P420 that has been on that shelf for 3 years. I haven't used it since. I may have put it out for a comparison. It's a good mic, but I've got no reason to pull it out, and it's with a lot of gear. And I have my favorites. I have the ones that I go to. I'm using the NTG3. I have microphones, so another microphone isn't going to make me stop using this. Or I've got the NT1 on a boom arm right here, because these are the mics I go to. These are the mics I want to use, right? So me getting Mother gear has nothing, no bonus to my life other than a video out of it. Matt Ruff, XLRs are easy to solder. The TRS are much harder. Amazon cables are trash.
Yes.
Amazon cables are bad. I think even Bandrew did a video on that showing how bad they were. They are pretty bad. Speaker cables on my hi-fi are monster, and I can tell a difference from the cheap cable. I'll let Dylan take that one.
If you have number one, speakers that are worth listening to something on. I don't necessarily think you're going to hear a huge difference with bookshelf jobs, and a good power amplifier of some kind, with respectable specs and a good source. Like your actual source of the playback is something that's high, like a high quality turntable or a really high quality CD player. I think the differences in things like cables, at least in the analog signal transmission, become more apparent. Digital cables, unless you're having an issue where there's interference and you get digital dropouts, there's not a difference with digital cable. And I'm confident saying that because I've tried many types of digital cable. And in theory, they don't make a difference. And in my practice, they don't really make a difference. But
okay, yeah, so cable. I got to go. We're already over time here. I just want to point out a couple of things. One was Liberty Dude says, may the universe grant you all healthy, prosperous week. Cheers, brother. Thanks for coming out again. And Outsider Jess, at this point, you could ship it off to some viewers. I don't know what you're referring to, but join the Discord.
I'm assuming the excess gear that you have.
Yeah, well, so I'll go broke really quickly if I just started shipping stuff out. It's really expensive. The Vocaster 1 is going to be going out the door to somebody on the Discord. And it's just going to be like a thing that you can sign up for on the Discord. And if your name gets drawn, you get it. There's going to be the odd thing that I'm going to do that. And it's only for one reason, that maybe somebody can use it. Something like a Vocaster 1 that I know will never be pulled off the shelf again. Like, I can tell you firmly, I will never use that again. That's the stuff I don't mind. So yeah, join the Discord. The link is at the bottom of almost any video. So come on down. I'm not as active on the Discord as I want to be, because I have a very full life. But yeah, I am going to be setting that up soon. And I'm just figuring out what add-on to whether or not I'm willing to pay a monthly fee for a stupid thing just to do giveaways. Anyways, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out. Have yourself a great week, and we'll see you next Friday.
Ciao.